Hi everyone, today I'm doing a tutorial on this photo album. This one I'm titling my intermediate album just because it does build on some of the concepts that we learned to do in the first tutorial that I've done. So if you haven't watched that tutorial already, I would encourage you to watch that. This was covered with Coco Daisy's Solstice kit collection pattern papers and some of the free printables from that collection as well. So this is what that looks like, and this photo album can hold 50 photos the way that I have it matted here. So in the tutorial I'll be showing you how to create this double pocket here. I'll be showing you how to create these kind of triple photo flap assemblies. I'll be showing how to do this waterfall here. And this is held shut by a magnet. More triple photo flap assemblies here as well. And I'll also be showing you how to create this belly band assembly here. So in here I have two photo mats. So if you'd like to see how I made this album, you can continue to watch. If you want to see more tutorials like this, feel free to comment below. These albums do take a while to do, so I would appreciate any feedback that you have. If you want to see easier albums or harder albums, just let me know in the comments below. And without further ado, I will skip now to the tutorial. So for this album, you'll need the same supplies as the last album that we made. So you'll need a scoring board and a score tool, some score tape, as well as something I like to have a straight edge to cut the tape with, some adhesive for adhering your pattern papers and your photos at the end, a ruler. I like to have some tweezers to help pull off the liner for the score tape. I like to have this tool as well. So the difference between this scoring tool and this scoring tool is this is made of silicone, so it doesn't leave marks on your paper as easily as this plastic one does. And I like to have scissors and my cutting tool. So I've actually pre-cut and pre-scored all of the pieces for today, just in the efforts of saving time. I do think this is going to be a bit longer of a video because it's a bit more complex of an album. So I don't think I'll need these. And let's get started with our album base. So I've also labeled each piece with the measurements here so that you guys can refer to it a bit more easily. Let me know if you find that helpful or not. So we have our base piece, which is 6 1/4 inches by 8 1/2 inches. And then we have two more base pieces that are 7 inches by 8 1/2 inches. And these are scored at the 7-inch side, at 1/2 inch and 3/4 of an inch. So if you remember from last album, that just creates kind of a gusset so that we have a bit more room to put lots of things in our album. So next we're going to fold along those score lines here. And what I like to do when I'm creating these albums is I like to use my tool sometimes and just burnish this down. And that way you have a piece that lies a bit flatter than if you just fold it. So let's do an example where I'm just folding it. So you can see that this one here lies a lot flatter than this one here that I didn't burnish down. So Let's do that. And we'll fold at the other mark that we scored as well. Right there. And sometimes I'll even do this after I'm done taping down all my things. So I might do that for this album just so that you guys don't have to sit there and watch me burnish things down. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to attach these two bigger base pieces to this smaller base piece. So you just want to line up this first folded edge with this edge here. So just take this tool. So we have our 2 pages. And then flip to this side. And make sure you're attaching this to, you see how there's like a gusset here? So you don't want to attach it over that gusset. You want to attach it to this edge right here. So I like to just line these up. And then I like to keep this piece stable with this hand while I'm peeling up the score tape, and that way that ensures that the pieces are still lined up when you go to attach it. So there we go. So this album is going to have 3 pages like that. And I know that the writing is upside down, but or on the back of one of these pages, but I'm going to be putting pattern paper over all of these pages anyway, so it really doesn't matter what the writing says. So now we're going to work on some pockets. So, let's do the photo flaps first. So the thing about pockets is once you attach the pieces on, you won't be able to attach longer flaps. So the pockets that I have are only about that tall, and the flaps are this tall. So if I attach the pocket on first, then I won't be able to attach a flap later, because then this will actually overhang that pocket. So that's why I want to do my photo flaps first. So for the photo flaps, you're going to cut 3 pieces at 4 3¼ inches and 6 1/4 inches, and score at 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side. So score at 1/2 inch, and then you're going to be applying tape on that edge. So there's the 3 pieces. You'll also need 2 more photo flaps. These are cut at 4 1/8 inch by 3 3/4 inch, and then you're going to be scoring at the 3 3/4 inch side, so that's the shorter side, at 1/2 inch. So right there, and again, score tape to both sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply these to this side right here. So I'm going to apply my flap upside down, because what I want to do is I want to have this edge line up with this line right here. So you see how there's like the edge that is closest to the binding and the edge that is after the gusset. So you want to attach to right there after the gusset. So I'll need my centering ruler because I do want this to be approximately centered. I'm going to sit down to do this so that I can see a bit better. So we're going to attach it right there. Move this out of the way. Make sure you attach it straight, like so. And make sure that your album can still fold. And then next, what I want to do is I'm going to attach one flap here and the other flap here so that it kind of opens this way. To do that, what you can do as well is trim an edge off right here so that when you're folding the flaps in, they're not really hitting each other. Or alternately, what you can do is you can, instead of attaching this taped edge to here, you can actually flip it around and attach the taped edge here. And then that way it gives you a bit more room so that when you're folding, it doesn't interfere with the other flap. So I think that's what I'm going to do actually, instead of cutting it down. So we'll take this piece of tape off, line it up, like so, right there. And then we'll attach this one to the inside piece that is attached to the album base. So, make sure that's lined up. Make sure this can still close. That is good. Just remove the tape backing from under here. And this is just how I like to line things up and make sure that everything is straight. So you'll just need to practice to figure out which way works best for you. So here I have the flaps. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these two smaller pieces to, again, this inside piece that currently has these two flaps attached to it. So one piece is going to go down here, and one piece is going to go up here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Let's do this one first, actually. So make sure you have it centered, like so. And right there. Oh, this one's not. Oh, I didn't remove that piece of tape. There we go. That's better. So this closes like that. All right, so now let's attach our pockets. So for the pockets, I've made two pieces. We're going to do kind of a stacked pocket where there's going to be one pocket at the bottom and then another piece at the top, but it's going to be kind of like this will form the divider between the first pocket and the back pocket. So this first one will be 7 1/4 inches by 4 3/4 inches, scored at 1/2 inch on the 1/2 inch and 6 3/4 inches on the 7 1/4 inch side, and 1/2 inch on the 4 3/4 inch side, and you're going to apply the score tape to all three sides. Now, remember with the pockets that we want to cut off the extra bit that's hanging off here. So I'm just cutting where those two lines meet. I'm just cutting diagonally here. I'm also going to be cutting right here as well. And that just makes it so that when you're folding your pocket down, that piece doesn't overhang here to create the extra bulk. So there we go. We're going to stick down the smaller pocket first. And we're just going to do that right here at the bottom edge. So I'm going to go ahead and line it up. Make sure that's straight, make sure that's straight. So sometimes if you go slightly over this edge, you'll see that you have a bit of troubles folding this down. So I would just kind of create a new fold line there. And burnish that down. There we go. So the next thing we're going to do is put this pocket inside this other pocket. So what I've done is I've cut a piece at 7 1/4 inch. So that's the same wideness as that other pocket. And this is by 5 1/2 inch. So it's a bit taller. And I've scored it at 1/2 inch and 6 3/4 inch on the 7 1/4 inch side. And also 1 1/2 inches from the 5 1/2 side. So you can see that there is a score mark there. And I just want to apply tape to this part here and this part. So it's just the first 1 1/2 inches on this side and the first 1 1/2 inches on this side. You're going to cut this portion of the piece out. So just trim the whole piece and stop at that 1 1/2 inch mark, and then cut this part off. Same thing on the other side. So the reason why that is we want to slip this pocket into here. So I'm actually going to cut off a tiny bit more, just so that it'll fit into that pocket. Remember to stop at that 1 1/2 inch mark there. Don't think I cut off enough on this side. Okay, just have to cut down a tiny bit more. Remember that when you fold the papers, sometimes like that takes up a bit of space because the folded edge takes up some space, so you might have to cut down a bit more. Let's see. There we go. Will just fit in there. So then what I want to do is fold these edges over, like so, and stick them right down there. And that way you have one pocket back here and another pocket back here. Might be easier to show with a ruler. One pocket and another pocket. So I'll just peel off the tape on these sides. Make sure this still folds. That's perfect. And there's your two pockets and the flap. So next what we're going to do is we're going to apply some magnets to keep this part shut, because we don't want this flapping around when we're trying to work on the rest of our album. So I have these tiny disc magnets. They are from Treasured Memories, and I will put a link down below, but they're very thin and they're very strong, so they work really well in projects like this where you don't want to have too much bulk. So I'll get some score tape out. And we'll put one here and one on this side of the page. So right there. And then, so what I usually do to make sure the magnet is in the right place is I'll stick that down and make sure that works. And then I will put a piece of tape there, like so, and then close this flap on top of that magnet. And when you open that, just make sure you press the magnet down, and there you have it. Just to note that they do have some thinner magnets and some thicker magnets. I accidentally bought the thicker magnets at one point in time, and I don't really use them. But the thinner magnets are, I find, a lot better for album construction, just because they don't add as much bulk as the thicker magnets do. So I'll leave a link to the thinner magnets on their website. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to attach 2 photo flaps to this other page here. So I've cut a piece here, 5 3/4 of an inch by 7 1/4 of an inch, and I've scored at 1/2 inch on the shorter side here. So this is a photo flap that will hold a 5 by 7 photo. So that's going to go here. And then I've also created one that is 6 5/8 of an inch by 4 1/4 of an inch, and I've scored at the 1/2 inch side on the long side here. So that will go here, and it will open that way. So I do still want to make sure that these are centered. Fill that down. Sorry if my head is in the video for this part, but I just want to make sure that everything is lined up. And it doesn't have to be exactly in the middle. I just like to make sure that it's kind of approximately there. Like so. And whenever I'm taping down my pieces, I always find it easier to bring the side that I'm taping down closer to me so that I can see a bit better as to where I'm actually taping down. So get my centering ruler out again. And remember, you want to attach this to after the gusset. So make sure you don't attach it onto the gusset, because then your book will not close. So right there and right there. You can eyeball this as well. You don't need to have a centering ruler, but I just find it to be really helpful. So then you'll have flap and flap. And that will be our second page. So you can either fold it this way or you can fold it that way. I haven't decided on which way yet. I might also add a magnet later, depending on how I feel with that. So you have your pockets, your set of photo flaps, and then more photo flaps here. So then on this page, we're going to create a waterfall. So a waterfall is basically when you have a series of photo flaps and they all flip up kind of the same way. So I'm going to be building my photo flaps this way up. And I have, I think, 9 pieces here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes. They are all 4 3/4 of an inch by 4 1/4 inch. So they're going to be holding 4 by 4 photos. And I've scored on the 4 3/4 inch side. So like on the side that's a bit longer, I've scored at 1/2 inch and applied score tape to all of these pieces already. So going to turn this around. So I want it to be going up and the photo mats to be cascading down. I always start at the top one first and work my way down, but I will be turning it upside down so that this side is closer to me and just a bit easier to work with. Oops, ruler is upside down too. Alrighty, so we're there. The first one is more important to line up exactly where you want it to be, because otherwise all of your other photo flaps will be crooked. So just want to be careful with this one. And you're going kind of right up to the edge there, like so. And then the pieces after that just follow suit. So I just space it out by like lining this up where the other photo mat flat ends. So just the 1/2 inch spacing there. I find if you overlap the pieces, then that creates a bit too much bulk, even though you can probably fit a few more photo mats down if you do overlap it. But I personally just like to line it up with where the last one finished, and that ensures that they are straight as well. So there we go. And as I'm going, I'm making sure that everything still looks straight, especially on this side and this side. There we go. And the waterfalls just provide a really easy way of putting in a lot of photos without really thinking too much about the design element. Because with each photo mat, you can put a photo in the front and the back if you like. I usually like to have the pattern paper on the front so that when it's all folded down, it shows all the pretty papers. But up to you what you'd like to do. So while I'm taping these down, I guess I should say, if you haven't subscribed or liked this video, it would be greatly appreciated if you do. And of course, if you have any questions along the way too, you can feel free to post your questions down below or just give me a message. And I will reply as soon as I can. We have 3 more to go. Almost there. And I'm kind of rushing through it a bit just because I don't want to take forever here, but feel free to take your time and make sure all the pieces are lined up. I've also done quite a few waterfalls in my days, so Might be a bit faster than okay. And last one here. This one is, I'm getting a bit of bulk from the pieces below, which is why it's like taking me a bit longer to line these things up, because they're not sitting exactly flat. All right, so there we have all of our flaps. So this is a good place where, because you can see that they're kind of flapping around, this is a good place where you might just want to burnish down all of your pieces when you're done, just so that they'll lie a bit flatter. So this would technically hold like 18, maybe 19 photos, because you can put one here as well. And what I will probably do is I'll probably put a ribbon up here and just put a magnet there so that it will close, it will hold this whole thing shut and it's not flapping around there. But there is our waterfall. So the next piece that we're going to be doing is we're going to have some photo flaps. More photo flaps, yay! So I'm going to have 3 photo flaps on this side and 3 photo flaps on this side. These are the same size as the previous photo flaps that we've done, like the photo flaps one. So these are just going to be 4 3/4 inch by 6 1/4 inch, and score at the 4 3/4 inch side. At the 1/2 inch mark, and then apply score tape down there. So I have 6 pieces. These are not labeled with measurements, but they're the same size. So, fold this edge here. And I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to have some of the photo mats like on this side, I want to have them on the top. Actually, no, I'll have them on the bottom. And then these ones I'll have at the top, so they kind of create this staggered effect. So I'm not going to be centering these ones here. So we'll take our first photo mat, attach it right here, like so. These photo mats are in the way. There we go. Make sure this is straight. Whoopsies. No, don't tape it down. There we go. And in this case, I'm going to, how do I want to attach these? I'm going to attach them on the back side of the photo mat. So, we'll kind of have like an accordion, and it will come out this way. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So really you can attach these photo mats however you like. There's lots of different ways to attach them. So, up here. And you can certainly have more than 3 as well. Then I'll have one here. Actually, let's do a gatefold. I like the gatefold style. There we go. So again, if you wanted to do the accordion fold instead, you could attach the photo flap here instead, and that would come out like that. But I like the gatefold. So you can see that, like, I forgot to cut off an edge on one of these photo mats, and it's kind of just crashing into each other right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to my paper trimmer and just trim off a tiny bit from that edge. So line this up at the top, and I'm just trimming off like a hair. It's not even a measurement. That's how much I'm trimming off. And you can see that that folds a lot nicer. Let's put magnets here. So one magnet here. Another thing to consider with the magnets is that you don't want to be putting them all in like the same space, because then they'll kind of like stick to each other. So for example, with the waterfall, I'm probably going to have a magnet up here to hold this shut. So I want to try to make this magnet maybe down here so that it's not interfering with that magnet. Close that shut. There we go. And then we'll have our 3 photo flaps up here. Like so. So I'll have one piece here, the other piece there. So before I attach these, I'll just trim off a tiny bit from this piece. So that when I'm doing the gatefold, the pieces won't crash into each other. So I'll put this here. And attach this piece right here. There we go. And I'm probably going to add a magnet to shut that as well. So one here, oops. Keeping in mind the magnet placement, so I'm going to put it near to the top, like so. There we go. So the last element that we're adding to this album is a couple of belly bands. So I've also printed this page out. It's from the Cocoa Daisy subscriber free printables that they send out every month. And I'm using the kit that goes with this paper. The reason why I have this piece of paper already cut out is because when we're doing the belly bands, we're going to have to put this piece of paper. While we're doing that, I'll explain as we're going along. So I've cut two pieces at 5 1/4 inch by 2 inches, and I'm scoring at 1/2 inch and 4 3/4 inch on the 5 1/4 inch side, and I'm doing that for both pieces. So what we're going to do is fold these over, and we're going to be putting part of the piece behind the paper and part of the piece on the pattern paper, which is why I had to have the pattern paper printed out before we constructed the album, so that you'll have a belly band here and a belly band here. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to tape down one of the edges on either side first. So let's do that. And I would like this to be centered, so I'll take out my ruler. And this will go approximately there. So you want to line it up at the edge, like so. And we're not going to glue this part down yet, because if you glue that down, then you can't put paper behind there. So we'll take our next piece. I'm just going to make sure that it is lined up with this belly band that we've already stuck down. So I might just take the ruler and make sure that's lined up. There we go, and they meet in the center perfectly. So this is also why I wanted these two sets of photo flaps here, so that when you're putting things in your belly band, they're not sliding out the sides, because you have this photo mat and this photo mat preventing things from sliding out. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this paper on here, and then we can attach the other flaps on our belly band. So just using my adhesive runner here, like a couple of lines down the middle just to make sure that's secure. I don't think this paper has an upside or a downside. It's very pretty though, but good that I can use it either way. And then I'll just make sure this, oopsies, I'll just make sure this piece of paper is centered here. I headbutted the camera, and that's why I shook a bit. There we go. Like so. And we will tape our belly band pieces down. Right there, and oopsies. So just have to make sure that's straight before you tape it down. And this one too. There we go. And so we have on our first page, pocket, pocket. We have our photo flaps here, photo flaps here, flap, flap, our nice waterfall, some more photo flaps here, and some more photo flaps here, as well as 2 belly bands that we can put photos into. So I'll just demonstrate. You can slide photos here and here. So I'll finish matting the rest of the album and add photos, and I will be back when I'm done. All right, so I thought I'd show you how I attach ribbon to hold this waterfall closed before I complete the whole album. So here I have some ribbon from my stash. You can see I've already placed a magnet where I want that to be. That's been centered on this photo mat here. And I've applied pattern papers to all of these flaps as well as my photos already. So the only part that's missing is right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little tail end for the end of my ribbon. So the way I like to create a tail end is like a fishtail, is I fold the ribbon in half. And then you just trim it on an angle, like so. And you can see that creates a nice fish-tailed ribbon that's kind of mostly symmetrical on both sides. So then what I want to do is I want to, in order to stick a magnet on the ribbon, I'm going to need some die cut pieces here that will hold this. So I'll basically have 2 of these die cuts, and they will sandwich both the magnet and the ribbon in between here. So this one's going to be on the back. So I'll put this down first. So I'm just going to make sure this is centered here. This is facing down, so the adhesive side is facing up. And the magnet will sit right in the center there. I'll put this piece on. Kind of press it down into the tape. I like to use score tape for this application just because it's a bit stronger of an adhesive. I'll just have to make sure my ribbon is... Oh, you know what? I forgot that these Cocoa Daisy die cut stickers they're now stickers. So I didn't really need to put the score tape on. Oopsies. So I'll just get rid of this piece here. That's just the backing on that. And try that again. So we'll put a magnet, make sure it's centered. Make sure our ribbon is straight, like so. So I'm going to have a hard time removing this, I think. Let me see if I can remove that backing. There we go. So this will just, I can pick this up now and make sure that this is sandwiched in between here. I do see that I was a bit off on some of the sides, so I'll have to trim that down a bit. Maybe I can remove it. Okay, I'm glad that it does stick quite well, it looks like. So, try that again. I don't think these die cuts are exactly the same size, but that's good enough for me. So we have that there. Now what I can do is I can put the cover piece above here. So I'm just gonna do that. This is actually a piece of packaging from the Cocoa Daisy Solstice kit that I used. And those letter stickers, these puffy stickers, are actually from the October kit, the Frost and Flannel collection. Flannel and Frost, I always get that mixed up. But I thought they just went so well with the colors in this kit that I wanted to use that here. So, remove this liner as well. Make sure this is centered. Good. There we have our ribbon. So then I just want to make sure that I already typed out this journaling piece here. So I'm just going to adhere it to the bottom and make sure that our ribbon is going to be so what I'm going to have to do is I'll get some score tape to tape down our ribbon. So we want to fold it about there, which means I have way too much overhanging here. I'll cut it about there. Just making sure that I have the right length for my ribbon there. So what I'm gonna do is just put this down. Oh, I need to make sure this is straight. Sorry. Do is put this on here, like so. So it's going to be right there. Now, just have to move this out of the way, attach this down. I'm just going to move it to the center. There we go. I think that will be good. Maybe pull it a bit tighter. Okay. And we'll remove the tape backing on that. Make sure this is centered, like so. Press it down. And there we go. So this is my completed album. This is using the Cocoa Daisy Solstice collection from September. This was one of the printable cards, some of the pattern papers. Here I used the Dymo label maker to add the date. Here are the two pockets. I have some more of those alpha stickers here. This is what they looked like in the package. And I also use the stamps from Ellie's Studio. So they have some of these tab stamps with little sayings on them for documenting. So I use some of those on my tabs for this project. This was one of the cards that came in a Kelly Perky kit. It was quite a few years ago, so they don't have these cards anymore, but yep. Some journaling there. For the dates on the tags, I use this Heidi Swapp date roller stamp. We have photo mats. Large photo mat. This one I included some flip outs. This one had that fold, as well as some flip outs there. Sorry for the glare on these photos. Large photo. Another large photo. These letters didn't show up as well as I had hoped, but it still looks okay. So another photo there. Here's that waterfall that I had shown before. So all of these flip up. And then the journaling card there with some of the star stickers from the Cocoa Daisy kit. Here's another one of those trifold photo mats pieces. I did some journaling on this pattern paper. And another trifold here with more journaling. And then in my belly bands, I ran out of pattern paper, so I decided to create this piece of paper with a stencil that I had created to go with the September kit, and just blending some of the Altenew dye inks on there as well. Here I have some documentation. Some more journaling here. And that's pretty much it. So this closes like so. Put these guys back here. So I'm thinking about doing another tutorial with some pop-up elements. So if you guys would like to see that, then let me know down in the comments below. If you have any questions, as usual, please feel free to comment down below as well, and I will get to them as soon as I can. Thanks very much for watching.